It is time to replace the bearing in my wife's car. So I need to take this wheel off. Okay, let's see, we got two screws holding on the rotor, and I've got to get the caliper out of the way. And here's a close-up of the caliper, if we can see it. There are two bolts. My ratchet is currently on the top bolt. I've already removed the bottom bolt. It is a size 14 and 9/16 will also fit. But this is the first step in getting this caliper out of the way. And this is how I like to get rid of these little screws. First I get my nice beefy Phillips and I tap it in there. Then I get my channel locks, set them to the size of the screwdriver, push hard and turn, but I don't have any way to hold this still. Gotta do it carefully so as to not strip these stupid screws. And it's not coming off. Okay, once I have cracked loose both of these, we can get them off. Took a little while, but I got them loose. I had to hammer on the metal a little bit.
Yep.
Looks like the boss is here. Now, getting the rotor off. Looks like it's going to be stuck a good bit. I don't want to hammer directly on that. The manual says you can put some bolts in here and press it off with them. So I might have to try that. We'll see. Well, I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but the only way to get it off was to give it a couple swift hits from the back side. Everything else I tried failed. So finally, I've got to the point where it wants to remove. Okay, so now we need to remove the heat shield. It's got a couple of bolts around the edge which we can access through these holes. Okay, so here we have the new hub. The heat shield is loose, but I can't get it off without getting the hub off. And it appears that just 4 bolts hold it on from the back side. So now I got to figure out where those are and get them detached. Okay, now we're getting these bolts loose. You can see where they protrude from the front, which makes finding them on the back a little easier. But there's a lot of stuff in the way. Let's see, this one goes up, figures. There, got that one loose. Okay, don't touch it. Let's see, we're ready to remove the last bolt on the top of the back of this thing. And then we get to see.
I see my
It
fingers.
just pulls right off. Now, let's get the heat shield off of here if we can figure out which way it goes. There it is. Oh man, I can feel how gritty that is. It's like it just sticks and slips. Are you having fun? You know you're ruining this video. Okay, so definitely a bad bearing. Let's go ahead and get the new one started on. Let's see now. Heat shield goes forward, like that. And the bolt pattern suggests it goes like this. So, let's see here. Now they said to put motor oil on this thing. I wonder if I should do that. I think I should. Got the paper towel. Let's wipe this off. We don't need no dirt and grime getting in our way. There we go. Now for a little bit of oil. Let's see here. I'll just put a pinch on my hand there. You know, it's like this O-ring around the edge. They told us to Well, at least in the manual they said to put some oil on it. Don't know if that's a necessity, but I'm going to do it. Okay, now we move again with the installation process. Let's see now. I think I want to go this way. Let's see if I can get that bolt started. Feels like it's started already.
This is going to take all day.
Sure is. And then there's our heat shield. It's going the right direction. That's good. Okay, let's get this oil closed up before I kick it over. Okay, now we just put some more bolts in. Once again, now it's time to reattach the heat shield. I've already tightened down the 4 bolts on the back side of this, and as I don't have a torque wrench small enough to fit within the wheel well, I just had to put it on there as hard as I could. Hopefully it won't come off. I don't think it will. Okay, we'll leave these loose until we get all 3 of them in. Time to put the rotor back on, but I want to put it back on the same way it came off. So let's look for a lug with the screw hole right next to it. That would be this one. You don't want to get these out of order. There we go. Now we can put the 2 screws back in. And I definitely do not like tightening these down because the wheel will hold them in once you put the wheel on. So they don't need to be very tight. They only need to be here long enough to hold this thing on here until the wheel gets on. And if you put these on here real mega tight, they're really hard to get off. So I snug them up just with 1 hand pressure. Just like that. Okay, that's on there. Okay, in the end I decided just to tap it back on like I tapped it off. So the caliper is back on. Let's see, we need to put its bolts back in. And we have a hose down there that needs reattached. Let's see, bolt number 1 is here. What are the odds we can find the threaded part that it goes into? I'll be darned, it feels like it's going into something. Okay, I'm just reattaching the brake line holder to the back of this. It was in the way earlier. It needed to come off in order for this to free up. Yeah, I didn't detach the brake line itself, thank goodness, but I did have to attach its mounting bracket. Just one little 13mm bolt.
Let's see.
Okay, that's on there. Okay, so everything's back on.
I'm digging a hole outside.
I think you are. Now we just got to put the tire back on and give it a test drive.